Hello. Okay, my quick, non-spoiler, immediate reaction after just watching the Fantastic Four First Steps. Um, Everyone is comparing it to Superman in that they came out within 2 weeks of each other, and they're big tentpole movies for both Marvel and DC. Superman is, like I said, I think in my review, imagine watching a feature-length cartoon of Superman from back in the day. It felt like that. Fantastic Four First Steps feels more serious. Yeah, don't get me started on Far-Fetched and they're superheroes, whatever, but it has a more serious tone to it. It feels more like an Independence Day, you know? First act is very, very good. Middle section is quite slow. It's obviously setting up a lot of stakes and kind of, oh, how are we going to do this? And we know who the bad guy is and what he wants. And, they're really hammering home the kind of tension and the stress and the confusion of what to do. But the third act is really good as well. For anyone who keeps saying this, in the Tim Story Fantastic Four movies, Rise of the Silver Surfer specifically, Galactus was not the Cloud. Galactus was in the Cloud. If you watch the film, at certain points you'll see Galactus's helmet silhouetted within the cloud. They just didn't want to take the risk on doing a really tall man basically in a purple skirt and a funny hat walking through New York. However, in First Steps, we do see Galactus. He can change size, by the way. He's not always, a million feet tall, which is why you see him taller than most skyscrapers walking through New York. He's actually played by Ralph Ineson, who played the general in Chernobyl, the general of the liquidators, the guys who were shoveling stuff off the roof. And he was very good at it. He's got that very bassy voice. But I think anyone could have played Galactus because it's a very processed voice. You only see that much of him, so what the heck. But they hammer home the fact of his scale, how scary he is. Now, the Silver Surfer, controversially, everyone's complaining that we've got Shala Bal, the female version of the Silver Surfer. Doesn't really matter. She does what Norrin Rad, the male Silver Surfer, would have done, and there's no kind of reason for her to be female, but then there's no reason for one to be male. It could have been a silver dog for all I care. No, they did that in Superman. Anyway, was it good? Yes, it was. It was very good. There are two post-credit scenes, one in the middle of the credits, one at the end. The middle credit scene is like a and the one at the very end is like he, but maybe not worth waiting for the very end one, but still more entertaining than the slightly pointless Superman post and end credit scenes. A good film. All the cast were good. They all got things to do, and I still think Ben Grimm should have had a proper gruff voice like this, because he's from the Bronx and he's supposed to be clobbering time Reed, but they didn't do that. But he looks good. Johnny Storm's very good. He's got. They give him something really good to do in this film. He actually shows he's got a role to play. Sue is, I would say, the kind of the focus on the film, but not over the top. And as far as anybody saying the W word, which I refuse to use anymore, let's just say political correctness. There's not very much over the top clunky messaging going on, although Reed Richards, as portrayed by the omnipresent Pedro Pascal, is good, but I'm going to call him Worried Richards. Worried, because he spends the entire film looking like... he doesn't let up. He'll smile occasionally, but generally he's got this concerned, look of doom on his face all the time, no pun intended. He could be a bit more... Sometimes you want to take the situation by the reins, take the bull by the horns and be a bit more assertive, but he's a bit kind of, Still, good film. Set up quite a few things. I didn't notice at the time, but in the end credits, some of the extras, 3 of the extras, in fact, were the original Roger Corman cast of the Fantastic Four, playing extras in a power station, apparently. Recognized their names. So that was fun. No Stan Lee cameo. It's not a spoiler, but obviously Stan Lee has passed away. But I thought they would have found a way of squeezing his name in. But there was a dedication to Jack Kirby, the legendary Marvel artist, and they named the Fantastic Four's rocket ship the Excelsior, which is Stan Lee's motto. Anyway, I will go into a full review, if I can remember it, on Tuesday with lots of spoilers. So you have been warned, but I will put a spoiler warning up. That was just my thing. I gave Superman, I think it was a 6 out of 10. This is more a sort of 7.5 out of 10. Not the best film in the world by any stretch of the imagination, no pun intended. But it's well worth a watch, and it feels like an Independence Day kind of film. So yeah, I recommend that. I still recommend Superman, if that's more your thing. And I will see you Tuesday for the next one. Take care now. Bye bye then.